Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Alwyn here. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day as always. A lot of stimulus updates today, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So on Friday night, the Congress failed to pass the federal spending bill for the 2021 year and a stimulus package due to certain disagreements over the stimulus package. They were working to pass the stimulus package and the government funding bill at the same time. However, the politicians ran out of time yesterday and needed to prevent a government shutdown, so the Senate and the House of Representatives passed a temporary 2-day government funding bill until midnight tomorrow, which is midnight on Sunday, to which President Donald Trump signed last night. The party leader stated that the negotiations are going very well, despite the remaining issues that still exist. Senator Mitch McConnell now said the talks are very productive, and he is a lot more optimistic about the situation. Today, the leaders of the Republicans and the Democrats were in meetings throughout the entirety of the day, trying to strike a deal on the stimulus package. Both parties are saying that they're aiming to strike a deal within hours. Mitch McConnell said that the Senate will stay in session and continue to debate all weekend long, and that he and his party are willing to stay behind until a deal is done. Senator Bernie Sanders even went as far to say that Mitch McConnell did make the right decision here in not sending the congressman home. In August, September, and October, they all said that they would not go home, but at the end, the congressmen were just sent home. So it is good that we do see them still staying behind and working on negotiations in order to get both deals passed. Senator Bernie Sanders said that rather than seeing a federal spending bill be passed, what he wants to see is he just wants to see something that includes stimulus checks being passed. Whether that's $600 or $1,200, as long as there's a stimulus check going out, he is going to vote for the deal and get it over with. He did state on the Senate floor on Friday that he would prefer it to be a $1,200 stimulus check, but because of the lack of support, he is saying that a $600 check is better than nothing. Sanders pointed out that we are living in times as difficult as the Great Depression. He went on to cite that millions of Americans are on the verge of homelessness because they are so far behind on their rent. He then went on to point out that we haven't seen anything like this since the Great Depression, where we have seen millions of Americans who are struggling to even afford to put food on their tables for their household. These are things that we only saw during the times of the Great Depression. As of now, since we had the eviction ban in place, this prevented all of this from happening. He claims that without further stimulus checks, we will slip into something very, very similar to the Great Depression if action is not taken. On Friday, he ended on the Senate floor saying, "Let's just make sure we get some sort of payment for the American people." He never explicitly stated whether he would want the $1,200 stimulus checks or he's okay with the $600 stimulus package. But he does go on to say that if there is no stimulus check, that will be a very large problem. Senator Josh Hawley made a second attempt on the Senate floor to push for the $1,200 stimulus checks. He stated that what I am supporting is what every senator supported at some time in this year. What I am proposing will give the working folks a shot at getting back up on their feet. For the Senate to vote on the proposal, Hawley needed cooperation from every single senator according to the Senate rules. Unfortunately, Republican Senator Ron Johnson objected and blocked Senator Hawley's bill. Senator Hawley initially threatened to block the government funding bill in order to force a vote on the stimulus check, but he announced that he will allow for the government funding extension to pass the Senate as it already did. Senator Chuck Schumer claimed that he was open to doing a $1,200 stimulus check, and Representative Ocasio-Cortez also supported it. However, 3 people are not enough to pass a $1,200 stimulus package. Currently, there are several issues that are holding up the agreement. While Congress has already agreed to the amount of $13 billion for these food assistance programs, they are still debating on how to allocate their funding. The termination of Federal Reserve's emergency lending program is another area of disagreement. The Democrats are saying that this program must be extended in order to provide stability for the economy, whereas the Republicans are saying that it is unnecessary and that the CARES Act would come to an end by December 31st. When Congress passes the next stimulus package, it usually takes the governments around 2 to 3 weeks in order to restart the unemployment benefits, which means that there would be a temporary lapse in benefits which will occur to the millions of Americans who are still out of work. Some not so good news is that Republican Senator John Thune said that the stimulus package, if it is passed right now, will not serve as a down payment for future stimulus packages, as President-elect Joe Biden has assured us in the past. Certain Republicans are saying that this stimulus package will be the bridge from now to until the economy starts to bounce back when more and more people get vaccinated. On the Senate floor today morning, Senator Mitch McConnell said that they do need to come to a very swift agreement because the deadline is tomorrow at midnight. He went on to say that the stimulus package does need stimulus checks and a second round of PPP for small businesses. He then went on to say that the stimulus package will require stimulus checks, a second round of PPP loans for small businesses, funding for schools, money for vaccines, and federal unemployment benefits. Party leaders are currently in negotiations. Today at noon, the Democrats were briefed on the stimulus negotiations by their leaders. Today at 4 p.m., the Republican politicians were briefed on the stimulus negotiations by their leader. Lower-ranking politicians from both parties are saying that they are very, very upset because they are left in the dark and they do not have any details yet of the stimulus package. They still do not know who will qualify for the second stimulus check. They said, "We don't know what the income limitations will be. We don't know whether there'll be $600 or $700 stimulus checks." Currently, it is expected that the vote on the stimulus package and the government funding bill will occur by tomorrow. The current timeline is that party leaders must strike an agreement, then draft that agreement, then go ahead and vote on that agreement. It must pass both the House and the Senate, and then get signed off by President Donald Trump. The lower-ranking politicians will be receiving details about the stimulus package after the leaders of both parties are done with their negotiations. In political news, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris is on her way to Georgia for the runoff elections to begin campaigning. Harris will be targeting the younger voters who came to vote in record numbers during the 2020 presidential election. Democrats are really hoping to continue their momentum and take control of the Senate this upcoming year. The first day had a bigger turnout than the first day of early voting for the 2020 presidential election, which is huge. Around 160,000 Georgians showed up at the polls on Monday, and about 134,000 people voted using paper ballots. Vice President Mike Pence was in Georgia earlier this week, urging Republicans to go out and vote. However, President Donald Trump retweeted a supporter's tweet that said that Georgia's governor, Brian Kemp, would be sitting in jail for interfering with the presidential election results. The Republicans are continuing to say that they're going to go ahead and boycott for the Georgia runoff elections. Zoom did announce that it is going to be removing its 40-minute limit on meetings during the holiday season to promote people staying at home. Users will have unlimited meeting times on Christmas Day, Hanukkah, New Year's Eve, New Year's, and the last days of Kwanzaa. This is very similar as to how they provided the unlimited meeting times on Thanksgiving, so that way they would prevent families from gathering unnecessarily. Hopefully you guys all learned something new and enjoyed the video. I thank you all so much for your continued support. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to drop a like down below. It helps me out tremendously. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Turn on those post notifications so that way you're aware of when I do upload my next video. And until next time, peace.